Okay, so let's spend a little few minutes just trying to explain like what we're going to be getting into when we get into databases. A database is probably the most important thing that's going on now in this information age that we live in. It's because of databases that we're able to access data so quickly, so fast, and so accurately from anywhere. I mean, if you think about the things that we're doing online now, all of that is because of databases. If you bank online, you're able to hit your bank's database. Shopping online, you're able to hit a store's database. Doing things like getting your car tags renewed. Things that you used to have to go to a brick and mortar building to get done, we can now do online. And all of that is because of databases, because our information that we need to do these things is stored somewhere that we can hit. I mean, if you think about it, when you go, because there's multiple branches of banks. I bank at Park Federal Credit Union. There's multiple Park Federal Credit Unions around this area. Because of databases, I can go to any of them. They all have access to my account. I put money into a bank, whichever branch I'm at. It goes into my account because that money is added to my account, to my database, to my account on their database. They can see that money was deposited. So databases are everywhere. When you log into a computer at school, you're actually hitting the school's database. You're entering your ID and your password, and it's going out and hitting their database. Say, is this person actually an enrolled student? And if they are, does this password match what we say their password should be? If so, you're let in. If not, you're not. If you're working and you do a time card, all that stuff goes into a time management database. There are just 1,000 different ways for databases to impact your life, and they do all the time. All the time, you're working with databases. It's amazing how often you do it that you just don't even think about it. If you go shopping at Target and you're swiping your debit card, you're accessing a couple of databases. You're accessing Target's, because I mean you're moving inventory inside of Target's databases, and you're also accessing your bank's database because you've got to move money around. So it's like you're accessing databases all the time, every day, all the time. And I just wanted to give a real quick example of a database that we're all kind of used to dealing with. And for that, I'm going to use our good buddy Amazon. So Amazon is not a brick and mortar store. I know they're trying to get to build some brick and mortar stores, but for all intent and purposes, it's actually an online database. It's really what it is. I mean, it's just a database that's a monstrously large database. I did a little bit of research online, and the average Walmart supercenter, the big Walmart, sells about 150,000 different items. So if you walk into a Walmart, you're selling about 100. Your typical Walmart supercenter is selling about 150,000 different items. Amazon sells about 350 million items. So just think of how big that store would be. It would be monstrously huge, and there's no way you could ever shop in it, because it would just be you'd be camped out there. But I want to use this. So here we have Amazon. I'm on their website, and again, I told you that they sold something like 350 million different products. Now, sometimes they're the same products, but they're just sold by different sellers or this kind of things. But in essence, there's 350 million SKUs that Amazon has to sell. Let's just suppose I want to look for something simple. I need a brand new office chair. So I'm going to type in chair. So type chair in the search menu, and type it in and hit enter. It comes back And you'll see over here, now say that started off with 350 million items. Now it used to give me a better search result, but now it just says over. So it's now showing me 1 through 48 of 90,000, of over 90,000 different items that match the description of chair in some way. Now sometimes it may be chair parts, chair screws. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's different parts of this. It may not all be chairs. But we've got access to, and we're down to 90,000. We've gone from 350 million to 90,000, or somewhere over 90,000. I don't know what that means, but somewhere over 90,000. So let's narrow this search down a little bit. Let's suppose that I want to, I'm looking for an office desk chair. So now I've gone from 352 million to over 90,000 to now over 2,000. So I'm getting it down just a little bit of what I want. So now let's suppose that I want a chair that's got some leather in it. So I click on leather, and it gives me another result. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, the search has to match these results. I want a search that matches office chair, leather, these kinds of things. So now I've gone from 352 million to 90,000 to over 2,000 to 405. Starting to get a little bit more manageable. I'm going to say that I want this thing to be a good chair, so I want something that's got like 4 stars and up. Now I'm down to 115, and I'm cheap. I want this thing to be somewhere between $50 and $100. And you see now I've got this thing down to 49. So what it is like Amazon has this huge database, and just doing this thing, I'm matching criteria that I want. I want it to be leather. I want it to be between $50 and $100. I want it to have 4 stars. These are things that matter to me. And so it's like it's going through their database and saying, okay, this matches, and it's showing me the results. So this 49, that's the results. So of the 350 million products that Amazon sells, 49 of them match the criteria that I'm interested in. So I'm going to do not be confused by what I'm getting ready to do, because I'm kind of apprehensive about doing it, but I just kind of want to give you a visual aid before we start getting into Access. And I just kind of want to show you like what this would look like if I did this in Excel. So like I just started this Excel spreadsheet, and here it's like this is just a listing of a chair that I just made up. So my model number is 123456. The name of the chair is Jefferson Office Chair. Home office chair is the type. The material is leather, price is $74.95, and 4.5 stars. If this chair existed in Amazon's database, it should show up because it's matching all of my criteria. So when we're doing when we're working with databases, this is what we're creating. We're creating these huge, and these things are called tables. So like somewhere out there, and I can't tell you that this is the way this works. It's because I'm not in on Amazon's side of things. I don't know how their database is set up. But a database is, for our purposes, we're going to be looking at databases as 4 things. 4 things that we need to know to get through this class. Tables, forms, queries, and reports. Those are the things that we're interested in. So here's an example of a table. A table would be like the big, huge, and again, this is Access, but it would look something similar to this. It's a big, huge table that Amazon has set up that allows that I can search, and by that I mean query. I can query to try to find what I'm interested in. So there are these tables that Amazon's database is built on, and like let's look. These may be the tables here. If I click on this, I have different groups. So this may be what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a chair in home office chair. So they may have a home office chair department, and that's where I'm going to query this report. So this home office chairs, it may be its own table. They may have a under $10 table. They may have an electronics table. They have all these different tables that are joined in that make up make up Amazon's database. So that's the first thing, is this huge table of just stuff. A form, like if I wanted to do a form, like here would be, let's see if I can get a form real quick. Let's say, let's see, sign in. This should give me a form. Here's a sign in. I mean, this is a form. I type in my ID, and then it's going to ask me for my password, and then I could. This would be an example of a form. A query is what I was doing when I was clicking all these little things over here. When I was saying, okay, I want it to be leather, I'm querying their database and saying, okay, show me a chair. Show me a chair that's made out of leather. Show me a chair that's made out of leather that has 4.5 stars. Show me a chair that's made out of leather that has 4.5 stars that is between $50 and $100. I'm querying their database. I'm asking their database a question. What do you have that matches this criteria that I'm giving you? And a report would be what it replies back at. This is an example of a report. I ran a query of Amazon's database looking for a chair that was between $50 and $100. That was made out of leather. That's an office chair. That's got 4.5 stars, and this is what it came back with. So this is like Amazon's version of a report. We're going to get into like what Access's version of a report is, but this is an example of how a database works. You use this all the time. When you log into a computer at school, you're entering your ID and password. That is querying their database, saying, do we have a student here that matches this ID? If so, does this match their password? Yes, they get in. No, they don't get in. If you go to an ATM and you stick in your ATM card and you hit balance, it's going to ask you for your PIN. So your card is like your ID, your PIN is like your password, and then you can query their database off of your information. It's going to reply back, here's your account, here's how much money you have in your account. So like I said, we use databases all the time. And we're going to barely scratch the surface of what Access is. So as confusing as this next couple weeks may be, it can get a lot worse. I say this all the time. I could teach an entire semester on just Access. Access is a huge animal. So I say this all the time, please keep up with what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to get back into this spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you, like, just imagine, and I did this in Excel. Like I said, I'm apprehensive about doing this, showing you this in Excel, because I always try to say that Excel and Access are two different things. But a lot of times when a business gets started, they may try to keep their inventory just using using Excel. And it may start off like this. Well, where Excel stops and Access starts is when this gets too big. When you start having thousands and thousands and thousands of objects or records, it's really hard to keep up or to search through this using Access. Using Excel. I'm going to get these messed up all the time. Using Excel. Access is going to make things a lot easier because you're going to be querying the database. Something else I want to talk about before I get out of this. The database, this Amazon database, I'm not the only one shopping at Amazon right now. There's a whole lot of other people shopping for Amazon. There's probably a whole lot of other people that are shopping for chairs right now. So this database is kind of a living, breathing thing. If I click on this and buy it, I've reduced their inventory by 1. And there are other people out there that's shopping. So, like, you know, if this thing sells out, boom, this chair may not show up again because it's no longer available. And their database maybe say, hey, we have 5, we have 4, we have 3, we have 2, we have 1, we have 0, and then it will no longer show this because it's not an available chair for me to purchase. All right, so just imagine that we have thousands, 352 million of these different items that we sell. So I've started this off with just the chair. So this right here, the Jefferson office chair, model number 123456, leather, $74.99, 4.5 stars. This is a record. A record is one item in this database, and these are all the fields for this database. So this is my model number field, this is my name field, this is my type field, material price, stars field. All of these are fields. So you have, so like my next one may be a dishwasher. So my dishwasher model number may be 654321, Jefferson dishwasher. It's a kitchen dishwasher made out of metal. It costs $150 and it's 3.5 stars. It's not all that good. And so just imagine that I have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these things. This would be impossible to deal with because I have millions and millions and millions of different records. This whole thing here is the record for the Jefferson office chair model number 123456. This is a record, and each of these are fields. So this is kind of a breakdown of what we're going to be getting into when we get into Access. It's going to be interesting. The one thing that I need you to understand is, like, when we've been dealing with Word and PowerPoint and Excel, we haven't got to PowerPoint yet, but we've been dealing with those other three applications. We are a user of the application. With Access, I want you to go into this thinking you are the designer. Other people are going to be using what you design. We're going to create a database for other people to use. And when you're doing this, you have to think about this, that we're designing this for other people to use. So we need to have certain things that we're going to need to make these things in a certain way so that it's easy for an end user. Not for you, because you're the designer, you know what's going on, you get paid big bucks for this. We're going to create a database that's easy for someone out there to use, like Amazon's database. It's easy for me to search and click on the fields that I find that I'm interested in. So we're going to be getting into this when in the next video. We'll actually start with building our first table and then building our first form. So I'll be back in a bit and we'll talk about that.